Good morning. This is the Great Basin prescribed fire and weather briefing for Monday, October 20th. Looking at our current fire activity map, we have prescribed burning going on in good portions of the Idaho mountains, especially the Boise and the southwestern part of the Payette, and some across the higher terrain of the northern Wasatch, and continuing in several locations in the Spring Mountains and in Ely's district as well. Precipitation the past 7 days, fairly wet across much of the region. Heaviest rains in the green, light green to dark green, half inch to inch of rain, pockets of heavier activity. Of course, some of that in the higher elevations was in the form of snow. You can see the 72-hour snowfall in mountains of Idaho. The dark blue to yellow is anywhere from 4 to 8 inches of snow, and some of the oranges are 6 to 12 inches of snow. So that's a sign of the seasons, and also up in the higher terrain of western Wyoming, same thing. A lot of it mainly just along and east of the divide, but still getting some snows as well as an inch or two in the Wasatch as well. Looking at our fuels, centered specifically on areas that are having prescribed burning, you can see up in the Boise National Forest, they've risen up recently to near normal, but they are expected to drop off over the next 7 days to well below normal. Meanwhile, in the Spring Mountains, quite the opposite. Fuels expected to continue rising up with warm, dry weather continuing through much of the next 7 days. Satellite imagery shows mostly clear skies across the region. We have clouds exiting the area, more clouds in the Pacific Northwest with a storm system. There's also some clouds and moisture to the south. You can see here over Baja that'll start moving northwards as well. We'll piece it all together in our forecast. So for today, high pressure building in across Pacific Northwest, but it's kind of a dirty high. There is some moisture moving into the far north, but this tannish shade shows where the atmosphere is pretty much dry. Skies will be mostly that clear blue variety, maybe some patchy leftover clouds. Because of the north-northwest transport, surface temperature still staying on the chilly side. We're watching this offshore low, dry air around the circulation, but it's going to pick up some of this moisture over Baja that we talked about, start pushing it northwards. On the dispersion index or ventilation index, the areas in the white are excellent dispersion conditions. Areas in the red, limited because they're closer to the stagnation of the high pressure ridge. Surface winds fairly light in that area as well across parts of northern Nevada, southwest Idaho. Still a little bit breezy out of the west-northwest across northern and eastern areas. You can see the minimum relative humidity drying out nicely in the south and central areas, mid-teens to low to mid-20s, staying in that 40 to 50% range further north. Now the transport winds and ridgetop winds, a little bit gusty out of the actually out of the northeast, coming in off the higher terrain off of near Cedar City and into the Spring Mountains. Otherwise, more of a west-northwest wind further north and strongest in the higher terrain of Wyoming. Light winds across Nevada. That's why their dispersion is expected to be the worst, but still vertical mixing at least 2 to 3,000 feet in Nevada, maybe 3 to 5,000 feet further east. Now, for Tuesday, we see the ventilation takes a big nosedive. Areas in the red indicating pretty poor ventilation. That's because the high pressure ridge is starting to build in across the region over the Great Basin. Still, though, skies will be mostly clear. We're watching that moisture to the south. Light overall winds, humidity very similar. Mid to upper teens in the southern areas, 30 to 40% further north. Light transport winds, mixing heights marginal, maybe 1,500 to 2,500 feet. Now, on Wednesday, that moisture in the south gets pulled up by this low pressure area. We see clouds, maybe some spotty light precipitation over parts of south central Nevada, southwest Utah, the Arizona Strip. So, kind of a mix on the ventilation index depending on where the clouds are blocking the solar heating. Although low pressure creates a more unstable atmosphere, so you have some of these pockets of white in southern areas. Humidity levels rising in southern areas. Instead of the low to mid-teens, they're mostly 20 to 30%. Not much different as you head further north. Winds overall fairly light. Transport winds also fairly light as well. Now the temperature change from today on the left to tomorrow on the right. Shows that cool air coming out in those northwest winds today, but you should see about a 10-degree warm up in northern and eastern areas. Actually, this is between today and Wednesday. Um, Temperatures may stay steady or even cool off a couple of degrees in southern Nevada because of those clouds that will be moving in at that time. And there's that spotty light precipitation with that moisture by midweek, and just a couple of hundredths of an inch, maybe a tenth of an inch in some of the higher terrain of Utah. Snow levels will be high, so it'll be mostly in the liquid form. Now, as we go later on in the period, that low moves on out. We have a weak ridge of high pressure building in, but it's a dirty ridge, meaning there's some mid and upper level moisture and some high clouds coming in. But the ridge strengthens and dries out on Friday. Should be a nice, warm, sunny day, but there's a strong cold front now pushing through the Pacific Northwest, and it's going to move through the entire region very quickly on Saturday. A big drop in temperatures, a quick shot of perhaps a moderate precipitation, and with the deepness of this low, lowering snow level. So elevations above maybe 6,500 feet in the north and 7,500 feet in central areas could see accumulating snow and remaining unsettled but very unstable atmosphere. So good overall mixing with these white areas on the ventilation index as we go into the weekend. So precipitation days 4 and 5, not too much lingering precip in eastern Utah, but there's that big storm system we talked about moving in, and already some moderate amounts of a quarter to a half inch of precipitation in the mountains of Idaho, and that shifts further east and a little bit southward. So we see these areas in blue, which is a half inch to locally close to an inch of precipitation, starting to overspread more of our area as we go into days 6 and 7. And then in the 7-day totals, we have overall, again, decent precipitation in northern and central areas. Just about every area gets some precipitation, keeping things on the moist side. So still some good prescribed burning in southern areas. We may see diminished burning chances in the north because a lot of this will come in the form of snow, maybe 6 to 12 inches of snow in the northern mountains. And the 8 to 14-day outlook. Kind of a mixed bag, low confidence, near normal temperatures, near normal precipitation for the southern half of the geographic area, somewhat wetter than normal probabilities as you head further north. This concludes our briefing. Next one coming up on Wednesday. Have a great day.